Um, how what's the ho is there any hope for multicultural churches? Like, having said that and, um,
Yeah.
should that still be the goal? Like, if you're a white pastor, um, should should that still be your goal to have a diverse church? Should that still be something we desire, or is that just kinda dead in the water?
I think there's a place for multiracial churches. I think they can be done well. I think they were a lot rarer than we would hope,
Mhm.
because you have to resist both sort of society and culture in general, but also probably your Christian tradition. If you're part of a denomination or a network of churches that's predominantly white, there's always going to be a pull back
Mhm.
toward white cultural norms and sensitivities as the default. So you're going to have to constantly face those headwinds, which gets really exhausting, and certainly for the pastors and the leadership. But I would argue even more so for congregants of color.
Yeah.
But it can be done, and I think they're especially helpful for, the increasing number of multiracial families that we have, right?
Right.
And kids who are, all kinds of, across the spectrum. They don't
Yeah,
fit just one box or one category.
yeah.
A multiracial church might be effective for those kinds of families. So there is a place for that. But one of the things that I say is I think we really get into dangerous territory when we make multiracial, multi-ethnic the goal instead of the byproduct. Um,
Yeah.
so when being diverse is the goal, what that does is push us in a posture of facing inward,
Mm,
of looking at our congregation in terms of, the proportions of different racial and ethnic groups represented. And it really pushes us, even inadvertently, to think in terms of how can we maintain or increase our diversity, which typically over time means how can we keep the peace?
mhm,
How can we avoid talking about topics or talking about topics in a way that would potentially divide
mhm,
and do damage to the diversity that we're trying to build?
mhm,
So it makes the diversity the goal, in which case, over time, may not start out this way, but over time, it becomes how can we avoid conflict?